I'm not getting it, so educate me.
What is he talking about?
Aren't the American people already alarmed?
Forget it, I've had it, I'm done, I'm through.
He seems to be just failing on every level.
Hi, I'm Greg Gutfeld. Thank you for not watching Naked and Afraid. Tonight on the show, the best 5 words ever. A Bernie Sanders folk album. I'm excited. Then which candidate lost my vote? All because of Van Halen. Hot chick. And can everyone please stop discriminating against vampires? Open your minds and your veins, America. But first, tonight's topic, childhood obesity. I kid, it's Donald Trump. And that awesome lid.
I don't know if you saw the poll, but they just did a big poll in Nevada, the state of Nevada, and I'm way ahead. And more importantly, as far as I'm concerned, I'm way ahead with the Hispanics, well into the 30s, which, and I think second is like 11.
Well done, Trump. Judah Friedlander, call your lawyer. What say you, Rand Paul, whose polls are evaporating faster than hair gel in a hot car? A chainsaw, how very Trump. And what of gentleman bachelor Lindsey Graham, our generation's Felix Unger? Enter Trump.
He gave me his number, and I found the card. I wrote the number down. I don't know if it's the right number. Let's try it. 202-228. I don't know. Maybe it's, it's 3-4 years ago, so maybe it's an old number.
Nah, it's the same one. But here comes Graham with a cam. Back to Trump. What will Donald give out next? Ben Carson's ATM number? Chris Christie's Sloman's Shield code for the governor's mansion? Marco Rubio's gym locker combination? Speaking of, where is Rubio? There he is, doing Trump.
We already have a president now that has no class. It is important for us to have a presidency that restores dignity and class to the White House. And I don't believe that some of the language that Mr. Trump is employing is worthy of the office. I just do not.
Well, that's more chump than Trump. But you know who really trumps Trump? Slick Rick.
He offers a barking carnival act that can best be described as Trumpism. A toxic mix of demagoguery and mean-spiritedness and nonsense that will lead the Republican Party to perdition if pursued. Let no one be mistaken. Donald Trump's candidacy is a cancer on conservatism, and it must be clearly diagnosed, excised, and discarded.
That's a metaphor. And so, like a personality strain of Ebola, everybody's catching Trumpitis for fear they'll fade like yesterday's Santorum. And that's the Trump show, where suddenly everyone is brash and raw. You get chainsaws, fire, meat cleavers, and name-calling. It's no campaign. It's the housewives of the RNC. All that's missing is the gay best friend. But really, this Trump versus the Republicans, it's a sibling squabble of he hit me first. So why this internal beef? Well, the problem with conservatives is we hate government, so we end up even hating conservatives in government, including war heroes. We disdain bureaucracy, preferring to stand outside and heckle. Trump has momentum because he's that heckler, roasting his peers like Peking duck. But what if he wins? If you look at Donald's past, he changes positions more often than an indecisive porn star. So who are you going to yell at then when the guy you love so much becomes the guy you loathe? Because when it's the Trump show, you're just another extra, and it's highly unlikely he'll even remember you.
Period.
All right, joining me tonight, she's so hot, she gives the sun a Dana Loesch sunburn. It's Dana Loesch, host of the syndicated radio show, The Dana Show, and Dana on the Blaze. And he's so sharp, he's not allowed near condom factories. It's Tony Sayegh, Republican strategist and Fox News contributor. All right, so Dana, I want to go to you first. He's obviously making a huge splash. I'm wondering, however, if this is just it's kind of a natural advantage when you're dealing with conservatives who already hate government.
No, and I think I love your monologue, by the way, because I think it's spot on. This is turning into Troll 16 instead of deciding who's going to be in the White House. It's Mean Girls 2. People are angry, though, and they don't want a boring focus group tested primary. And so really, I think he who slaps the hardest, or she who slaps the hardest, that's the person who's going to win in 2016. And I wish some of these other candidates would wake up and realize that they don't have to be so careful and kittens and sunshine with their speech all of the time. But I think it's more the message than the record at this point. I mean, we still have, what, a year to be completely disappointed by everybody else, so there's time.
That's true. You know, Tony, we've got a year, which means by this time next year, all the candidates could be mud wrestling naked in a giant, like, cage. The way this is going.
That would be disgusting. Thank you for that image, by the way. Look, I mean, getting to understand Trump's appeal because of his irreverent confidence, combativeness, the kind of candor that, as Dana says, a lot of these other guys lack, that's understandable. But the question I ask is this the guy that we want to be the champion, the voice of modern conservatism? I mean, you talk about the fact that we have all these Republican primary voters who they like the fact that he's irreverent and that he's loud, but at the same time, they don't like big government. Donald Trump was the poster child for crony capitalism, big government programs, taxpayer-funded projects for his construction and developments, which I love, by the way, here in New York. The guy declared bankruptcy 4 times. Is this the guy we're putting forward?
Wait, you know, Dana, he makes a very good point about their shifting positions. You wrote a very pro-gun book. I think it was called Hands Off My Gun. You know that Donald's has expressed very strong gun control beliefs. Are you worried that at some point he's going to return to that?
I don't know what to think about Trump. I mean, he also told me Tuesday that he was never going to run as a third-party candidate. And then Thursday, he tells The Hill, well, you know, if Republicans don't treat me nice, I may run as a third-party candidate. I think he is just as shocked as anybody else that he is this far ahead in the polls. His record, to me, what it seems, I don't believe that he is a conservative. I don't. And I don't believe that he has a conservative record. I like the disruption, though, and I think he's sort of a Rorschach test. At least myself and everybody else who's watching this, we're sort of sitting back thinking, okay, well, is he going to maybe incite some of these other candidates to respond with the same force and fury? But you're right on this. I mean, gun control, he's told me that he has a concealed carry permit for New York and that he carries in New York. But then in the past, you know, he said some different statements. So I don't know if he's come around or who knows. I mean, who knows what the guy thinks? The voters will decide it.
Tony, last word to you.
I'm all for disruption. I want more excitement. I want some of these guys to stand up to the plate and give us something to be inspired by. I don't disagree. But at the end of the day, you have this situation now where all Donald Trump's campaign has boiled down to is personal insults. And I think that really hurts our candidates in the long term because some of this does end up sticking on them because comedy, as you know well, Greg, it works. And by the way, I just want to say one thing. He's saying he might run as a third-party candidate if the party doesn't treat him right. Now, all of a sudden, Donald Trump is a Fabergé egg. He has to be treated gently. We have to put him in bubble tape. Meanwhile, he's the self-anointed frontrunner. This is what happens. They go after you when you're leading the pack.
Thanks for that point, because I was just thinking that what Donald Trump is doing when he talks about a third-party candidacy, he's like the National Lampoon cover where they got the gun to the dog's head, and they're going, buy this magazine or I'll shoot this dog. And
he's a celebrity
candidate Trump is saying, support my candidacy or I'll shoot the party. Dana and Tony, thanks. I want to bring in my other folks
Thanks,
here.
Jeff.
So what's a candidate to do if your name is not Trump? That's a great question. Joining me now, he's got more guts in his pinky than I got in my name. Former bomb tech for your U.S. Marines, Staff Sergeant Joey Jones. Well, he's so preppy, he's tattooed a little alligator on the left side of his chest. Fox and Friends co-host Tucker Carlson, and she's just here for the green room food. It's Joanne Nosuchinsky. Yeah. Finally, she swears her stuffed animals speak to her at night. Op-ed Katherine Timpf from National Review. And I almost forgot. He's made of wood and up to no good. It's our liberal panel. He's back. Boo on him. Shut up. All right, Joey, I want to go to you first because I feel like we've spent 7 years hammering the media for carrying Obama's water. I'm not going to turn around and carry Trump's water when he says stuff about McCain. It's like I don't understand how people could be, that's just being brash. Am I wrong?
No, not at all. When does the real Trump start and the bull Trump stop, right? Yeah. At the end of the day, I mean, think about what he just said about Senator McCain. And by the way, McCain isn't one of the senators that's trying to run against him for president. I don't know if he knows that. But he's doing a good job with Perry at 1%. So at the end of the day, listen, I lost my legs in Afghanistan. I hope that he doesn't score me under for that, because I want to know, Ducky, with my legs here, am I a failure? You know, am I an underachiever?
Yeah, your legs got captured.
I assume he likes the veterans that brought their legs back with him. I'm sorry. You know, I'll do better next time, though.
Yes.
Maybe if he's president, he'll send me somewhere to take care of that. So.
Veterans like him, though.
Well,
not defending.
Not all veterans.
You're right.
It's true.
They like
They
his
prefer
rhetoric.
active duty and retired veterans, according to poll today, prefer Trump to John McCain. Now, why is that? Because he's such a great guy, or has consistent views, or understands the Pentagon? No. Because two reasons. One, it's thrilling to listen to a man say what he really thinks. Nobody else does in our society right now. And two, the people who run everything have failed demonstrably. So Trump may be ludicrous. Is he more ludicrous than the people who've allowed the rest of the world to disintegrate, funding this country on the, fake money from the Fed? No, he's not more ludicrous than they are, actually.
He's not as Ludacris the rapper.
No, he's not. Actually, maybe slightly less.
Yes, exactly. I miss Ludacris. Speaking of Ludacris, Joanne, here's the thing. Trump banned this Iowa paper, what is it, the Des Moines Register?
Yes.
From his events because they were mean to him. Isn't there a certain kind of hypocrisy going on here where his supporters praise him for being really, really blunt, but then if anybody's blunt to him, he's very sensitive?
You have to be willing to take what you serve.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Speaking as a waiter and a bartender.
Exactly. I give you food, you give me a tip.
Yes.
But yeah, no, this makes absolutely no sense. People are going to criticize you like you've been criticizing other people. You have to take it, because the way he is, he'll hear something he doesn't like, and that'll give him more ammunition to come back and to make another point that he thinks is astute. So bring him in.
All right, Katherine, you're waving at me.
Yes, I am. I don't think you're giving him enough credit for not being so kind to people who don't like him. I found a tweet on September 11th of 2013 where he said, "I would like to extend my best wishes to all, even the haters and losers, on this special date, September 11th.
That's so sweet.
Even the haters and the losers.
Yes.
I don't know why anyone would say he's crazy.
Yeah. Let me go to the liberal panel real quick. You must be ecstatic over Mr. Trump, because he's taking a lot of the attention away from your party's miseries, because your party is a mess right now and nobody's paying attention, well, until Hillary's emails came out again.
Greg, Donald Trump is everything I could want in a Republican candidate. Once Dennis Rodman becomes his vice presidential candidate, he can't lose.
That is true.
Listen to me, Fox News people, vote for Trump.
But you got to admit, I mean, you've got your own Trump. You got Bernie Sanders, who you coddle.
We have no one nearly as entertaining as Donald Trump. And also, we don't coddle Bernie Sanders. I was about to say Bernie Trump.
Yes, well, you're pathetic.
President Sanders is going to do a great job. He's going to really turn this country around. But let's not talk about Democrats. Let's talk about Donald Trump and why everyone should vote for him. Fox people.
All right, shut up, you stupid wall. Still ahead, Bernie Sanders, like you've never heard him before. If you stick around, I'll rip the tassels off Tucker Carlson's loafers. Well, Donald hogs the spotlight. We forget there's a whole other equally evil party out there. Let's check in on Demon Ow. The best thing we found this week is the Bernie Sanders folk album. It exists. He made it back in 1987 when folk was king and I was still dating Charlene Tilton. She was a barrel of laughs. Anyway, here with his rendition of This Land Is Your Land, the smooth, dulcet tones of Bernie Sanders.
As I went walking that ribbon of highway, I saw above me that endless skyway. I saw below me that golden valley. This land was made for you and me.
All right.
This land is yours.
Here we go. Yep. I think that's probably enough, huh? Boy, I feel the need to inject some patchouli. That was amazing. Tucker, it is easy to laugh at this because it is easy to laugh at this, but it's also beautiful.
Whenever I hear folk music, you know what I think?
What?
If I had a hammer.
Yes.
By the way, I was in high school in 1987. Folk music was not the dominant genre. He was very late to this. I grew up with liberals who liked folk music and smelled bad and wore sandals and were afraid of microwave ovens because they were nuclear. And I mocked them, obviously I still do. what a better species of liberal that was than the ones we have now.
That's true, because now liberals are folk music players without the folk music. They just yell. They just say things.
They're members of the Red Guard enforcing the standards of the Cultural Revolution, getting people fired for having, heterodox views. I like the old-fashioned kind of passive, stinky liberals.
Yes, it's so true. Sergeant, what do you make of this? You have to admit, at least he's got a nice, kind of harmless hobby.
Well, I think that his folk music should say encapsulated on an 8-track somewhere in some hipster's retrofitted Prius down in Austin near where I live.
Yes.
And we'll get back to what we need to get done.
Mm-hmm. So. You know what I like about him, though? He's very pro-Second Amendment, but that's because he lives in Vermont where everybody kills things. But you know what, Joanna, look at this. So what? Capitalists play golf. Anarchists defecate against cop cars. Progressives, they're into folk music. It would make sense.
Yeah, just because you're into folk music does not mean you should record an album. If you cannot sing. He isn't even singing. And this, I won't even humor him, because there are actual artists who would love to record an album who cannot afford it.
Yes.
He should be giving some of his own money to those artists, right? Spread that wealth around.
So true.
And encourage the artist community to come forward.
All right, Hillary's week in a nutshell. Her poll numbers have the Democrats biting their nails, among other things. She was for Uber before she was against it, and her private email accounts could be her undoing. And where she killed a family of 3 in Carson City. I'm joking. That really didn't happen, so don't call me. Could it get any uglier? What do you think, Tucker?
I see them as pretty confident, actually, the Hillary people. I mean, I think they have demographics on their side because of demographic change. I think they think they're going to get a big percentage of women.
Her poll numbers are way down. I'm in line.
Yeah, no, they're not. Actually, they're kind of unaffected by detail. You know what I mean? I think people...
She's very unpopular, I think.
Look, every person I interview or talk to on Hillary who supports her, not one of them makes a case for her candidacy. They say things like, she understands me as a woman.
She doesn't understand anybody. She's like the wealthy lady with a dog that steals your cab.
She hasn't driven since 1978.
That is true. She's like an Upper East Side socialite who, breaks wind in the elevator and blames you. That has happened, America. Not by her, though. Sergeant, what do you think of her? I mean, do you think she's actually, in the swing states, she's being beaten by Republicans?
Well, the latest poll is that she doesn't do well on honest and trustworthiness, which is kind of funny because she's a politician, and I don't know many that do. So, like you said, the numbers probably aren't that bad. Uber is really curious. I mean, sometimes liberals can make an inequality where there isn't one that exists, because if you're a liberal, if you're an Uber driver and you're being labor intensive, you turn your phone app off, and now you don't have to work anymore. So I don't understand quite how Uber is such an inequality.
I'll tell you why Hillary doesn't like Uber. Because only she should have a driver. And Uber has democratized chauffeurs. We all now can have a chauffeur for maybe 15 or 20 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. And it's great. When you get into an Uber car, you do suddenly feel like you're somebody that's slightly wealthy. At least I do.
I wear a Hamburg every time I get in.
And
I shoo away urchins from the car.
I demand a mint the moment I sit down. I need a mint. Hey, Katherine, what do you think her strategy is going to be now with the emails? I think she's going to rely on her gender completely.
She is an interesting strategy for avoiding having problems with scandals, and that's just she has so many of them that people are like, oh yeah, another scandal. It's not a big deal to them anymore. I really judge anybody who's still going to vote for her. She lies so much. These people must, if they trust her to be president, have very unhealthy relationships.
What about you, liberal panel? I bet you're sticking to her through the very, very end.
Hillary Snowden 2016, Greg. That's all I have to say.
But see, that's not saying anything.
Look, first of all, let me talk about Uber.
Yes.
What does capitalism do except make products and services better?
Yes, that's true.
Who wants that?
No,
I don't understand what you people are talking about.
Amazing.
I cannot wait to vote for Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders, both of them.
Really?
Yeah.
That would actually be a great ticket.
Sanders, Clinton?
Yeah.
I would vote for it.
Yeah.
But I just want to add, if I can get this in, everyone watching, vote Donald Trump.
All right, there you go. All right, coming up, business in the front, party in the back. The news mullet is next. But first, our Olympic hopefuls. Tonight's event, urban skiing. I love this.
Yo, you're right.
And now the segment that's business in the front, but party in the back. It's the news mullet. Nice. First, the business. The Pentagon is asking armed volunteers to drop the guns outside of military recruitment centers. Civilians have been guarding these centers nationwide in the wake of the Tennessee terror attack. Defense Secretary Ashton Carter, a great name, says the government is reviewing other options to enhance security. Governors in at least 11 states have already ordered the arming of personnel at local recruiting centers. I want to go to you first, Sergeant. Because obviously you came from a very risky place, and now it's kind of risky here. How do you feel about civilians, first off, taking the responsibility? Was that wise?
Well, I'm a civilian now, so I can't go too far down this path. But if you go to the recruiting station where I joined, there's a good chance that Bubba's standing out there with a sawed-off shotgun, and that's probably a problem. Listen, these recruiters especially, they can't put bars on their windows and have a security guard up front. They're trying to get the cream of the crop, like me, to join the military and go be, and that was a joke, and go be a part of their fold, right? So at the end of the day, you can't just, throw up a bunch of blockades and hope that people still join. So the next logical step is to arm them, especially when they're being called out on social media and everywhere. For these civilians, it's a great gesture. It warms my heart to see it. It really does. But if you arm these recruiters in these reserve stations, they're actually going to get trained for that environment, and they're going to be beyond a guy carrying a pistol on his side. And if you see some of the pictures, it's really funny. I mean, it's hilarious.
Yes. Well, you know what, Tucker, I argue that in these strip malls, there are far more dangerous things, like those coin-operated horses. Have you ever tried to ride one of those? I've been
literally the other day I tried it.
Yes, I was thrown off, and I had a semi-permanent head injury.
It bucked me across the parking lot.
Yes.
No, I mean, you're more likely to die slipping in the shower than in a recruitment center. It doesn't lessen the tragedy of what happened in Chattanooga, and it doesn't lessen how impressive it is that people are volunteering their time to do this good for them. But it does say something kind of ominous that veterans feel like America's so out of control, the military can't even protect itself in our own country. I mean, whether that's real or not is another question, but the fact that people feel that way suggests a real slide.
Yeah, what's wrong with one gun, Joanne? Just one gun.
Oh, gosh, there's probably ththings. I've never held one before, so I don't know.
Never held a gun?
I know. I grew up in Jersey, the shore. I'm a shore girl. But
so you only held 16-ounce beers and grew up in public
you tape them to your hands.
That's a different kind of gun show.
You don't drop it, yes. But I'm just tired of speaking to our lawmakers and other people who really don't know anything about this, what we should do. How about we talk to our veterans and really see if they are the ones who want guns in these recruitment centers or not? I feel like we're not hearing them enough, and we need their voices to be heard more.
That's an interesting point to make. Katherine, there's an assumption that more guns in a mall would up the risk of somebody being shot, but that's factually untrue. Am I right?
I'm just so confused how all these shootings keep happening in gun-free zones. Guns are not allowed there. How are guns aren't allowed. If guns aren't allowed, there's not going to be any guns, clearly.
No, it's true. Actually, that's, according to research, where there are guns, there are fewer gun attacks.
Of course. An armed society is a polite society.
Exactly. And a study of felons showed that they prefer to target people who aren't armed.
Wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. That's how I spend my afternoons. All right, that's it for the serious part of the news mullet. Now, the party. That was amazing guitar work. Anthony Weiner, remember him? He and his manicured crotch got a new job, and it's not as a portrait photographer at Sears. He's at a PR firm specializing in crisis management. Yes, the guy who had to resign from Congress in shame for tweeting pictures of his primped privates will now be advising the firm's board, and no, that isn't a euphemism. Joanne, how does he keep finding work? It's amazing.
You got to know the right people.
Yes.
I think that's it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yes.
I think is what they say.
Yes.
There's politics everywhere, Greg, even in politics.
That is true.
But what I love about this is we think we've seen the best scandal from him. No, not yet. There is more to come. Because as soon as people are given a little bit of authority, they think they're invincible, and then they start getting really lazy. So we're going to see some more pictures. I'm looking forward to it.
This is so deep, this story. Here's a guy who couldn't manage his own life, going to help other people manage theirs. So obviously he's totally, by definition, unqualified for the job. Why'd they hire him? Because it turns out when people are in real trouble, the one thing they want is not good advice. They don't want to be judged.
Right.
And Anthony Weiner is the one guy who's not going to judge you. He sent naked pictures of himself on Twitter.
Yes.
There's no judgment.
Wouldn't that be great if the person who comes to him in crisis goes like, this is terrible, I feel awful, and he's like, okay, hold on a second, and he immediately sends a picture of his crotch. This will make you feel better. Totally shaved. You know what I think, Joey? My theory is this is a guy who should not be working at home, because when he's alone, it's good that they got to get him in an office with like a glass door, maybe a cubicle, so he can't lock the door and say he's taking a nap.
I think there's a moral to this story, though. In the Marine Corps, we say lead by example, lead from the front. I just don't know if it's full frontal nudity that we're supposed to lead by, so I'm not sure.
I don't know either. Catherine, we joke, but he is an expert in crisis, except he makes the crisis first.
Sorry, I just got done vomiting from hearing the phrase manicured crotch.
It's the name of my band.
Okay, make of a vomit again.
Led Zeppelin tribute band.
I don't know. I mean, people still kind of like him and think he's funny. I feel like he's great at PR, you know? He's not good at hiding things. The CIA shouldn't hire him, but I think PR is kind of the right move. Good luck.
I'm telling you why this is. This would never happen to a conservative. He's a liberal. He's got a lot of friends in high places. They will say it's like hiring a hacker to prevent your company from being hacked. But basically, the fact is he will never not have a job because he knows all the right people. But it is. I keep thinking like hiring to do this. It's like hiring Ted Bundy to be the star of The Bachelor. No one is safe.
The Donner Party to, run PETA.
Yes.
No, or whatever. I mean.
Yeah. No, PETA would be great.
Humans
PETA,
too.
right,
They
a
ate
vegetarian
humans
organization. He is perfect, though. If you really think about what you want when your life is collapsing, and you've tweeted naked pictures of yourself.
Those weren't naked.
Well, semi-naked.
I was wearing a tan bodysuit. I have you know. Okay. I'm sure as a liberal panel, as a wall, you've seen a lot of people do many things. Is it time to forgive Anthony Weiner, or is there anything to forgive since he is a liberal and has no values whatsoever?
As a no penis American.
Yes.
I did not judge Weiner too hard. Oh, God.
Yeah, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Look, when you have a penis-related scandal, Greg, you're going to want someone with experience in PR.
Yeah.
Penis response.
There you go. Thank you for saying that word at least 4 times.
Penis.
But it is 10 o'clock. Okay, still ahead. Vampire rights. And do we really need a potato chip that tastes like a Reuben? I say yes, but that's because I'm a big fan of Reubens, including Mr. Kincaid. Remember him from the Partridge Family?
Aww.
Those were the days. The following may be offensive to a select few, so we pause for this trigger warning. They've been maligned throughout history. These pale humans are often victimized by superstition, some even burned at the stake. Thankfully, a new study sheds light on these vain, hungry victims of bigotry. According to D.J. Williams, that's his real name, of Idaho State University, people who identify as real vampires, they risk ridicule and a diagnosis for mental illness. But he says they're really successful, ordinary people and shouldn't be blamed for their bloodlust because, quote, they believe they were born that way. Williams examined 11 people who self-identify as vampires and concludes the vampire community is a conscientious and ethical one, which makes me wonder, where are all these vampires and how do we accommodate their concerns when that time comes? Because you know it will. Do we develop garlic-free zones? Should stores remain open 24 hours so they can shop at night and avoid evil sunlight? Should we ban spikes? They could trigger traumatic memories. And what about the crucifix around your neck, religious folk? Should your cross be their cross to bear? Laugh now, but today it's not who you know, but whoever you want to be. In this age of identity obsession, there are 3 easy steps. Self-identify, establish victimhood, demand sensitivity. Sadly, we mistake this as empathy when it's just appeasing the lonely, which is why I'm now a leprechaun. And if I don't get my daily pot of gold, you're leprechaunist. Tucker, why not vampires? You're laughing, but in 20
the trigger warning was very clever, and it took me a second to figure out what you were saying.
It was very stupid, but I still like it. In 20 years, we're going to look back at your laughter and go, you were definitely vampirist. 20 years, vampires will be marrying mummies in Vermont.
When did juggalos become a persecuted group? I mean, that's kind of...
Oh, they always have been.
Oh, have they really?
Yes, the Juggalos have always been. People go after Juggalos.
No,
but
we're
those
going to
aren't
look
vampires.
back. We're going to look back on this moment, 2015, as like the fever pitch of insanity. Before somebody stands up, someone with maybe more credibility than Donald Trump, and says, "Whoa, whoa, whoa."
Enough.
Slow down. Not all 320 million of you can be victims at the same time.
Yeah, everybody's finding instead of being proud of their own individual identity, they've chosen group identity, which then creates factions that will then war upon themselves. They will, and it'll happen on the left, but on the right, because we don't care anymore. We don't care if you think we're racist. So it's now going to turn on the left. Katherine, this opens the door, in my opinion, to zombies, which will then cause an end to cremation and burial, and we'll have to be freezing corpses because we'll never really know if they're dead.
I'm just going to do the world a favor and say that if you drink blood, you're weird. You're a weird person. Yes, I judge you. Everyone judges you. I'm allowed to judge you because drinking blood is objectively weird.
I don't know, Joey. That's I think that's bigotry, what she just did, right?
Well, listen, if you drink blood, then obviously PETA's got a problem with you. And if I can find a way to side with them, then the world should be harmonious.
They're drinking human blood.
Well,
They're drinking human blood.
Then that makes them a culprit, and I'll volunteer to be in the Vampire Hunter because I was a big fan of Buffy, and so.
Yeah, who wasn't? I don't know. I think this is the end. I think you're right, Tucker. It's the end of identity because now anybody can join, Joanne, even you.
You can, but isn't there something nice about not telling everyone what you are and not being accepted? It's like I like to refrain from telling people about my theater background sometimes because it's like a secret club that we're all a part of.
And also, it's annoying when you talk about it.
Exactly, and I don't want to be joked at like this on national TV.
Yeah, well, this really isn't national. It's 10 o'clock on a Sunday night. But it's true. You know what? The drama club is the most annoying group identity I think you could ever be a part of because you always wear hats and scarves. When
we know that.
I know. It's terrible. And then you all become actors and waiters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Liberal panel, have you ever thought about organizing other pieces of wood?
Yes, I'm trying to get all walls to support me. I worship secular humanism.
Oh, very good. I'm not surprised by that. All right. Up next, find out which candidate already lost my vote. But first, these messages.
There are plenty of fish in the presidential sea, and hooking a good one can get pretty overwhelming.
That's why you need us. Millennial Matchmakers.
With a subscription to our blog and get to 6 easy payments of $5.99, we'll find you your compatible candidate.
Wait, is that $599 or $5.99?
Either one, it doesn't matter.
We'll get your take on the important issues like zodiac signs, food allergies, and tolerance to alcohol.
I just matched myself to Chris Christie because of our mutual love of baseball and diluted amounts of self-confidence.
And I'm matched with Donald Trump because we both yell at people when we have feelings and would do anything for attention.
Better act quickly. Only 7,002 days left until the next presidential election.
Call within the next 15 minutes and we'll throw in this pocket constitution that smells like Rand Paul absolutely free.
The sweet smell of liberty.
No.
All right, it's time to see who lost my vote this week. Nice work. All right, Scott Walker, you lost my vote because of the way you answered this question.
If there were a band that was going to play the soundtrack to your life, what would that band be?
Van Halen.
That's fine. If you stopped there, you would have had my vote, but you didn't.
Doesn't matter whether it's David Lee or Sammy, either one.
That's where you lost me. It doesn't matter if it's Dave or Sammy. America cannot afford to have a president that waffles on this issue between two singers. I'll tell you what the difference is between Dave and Sammy, sir. It's the difference between getting my vote and losing my vote. And you, Scott Walker, have lost my vote. Tucker, I was a huge fan of Scott Walker, but there, you have to understand Van Halen with David Lee Roth is different than Van Halen with Sammy Hagar. That's idiotic.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's insane.
It's pushing the limit. I completely agree with that. I mean, this is not a small thing either.
No, it's not a small thing. Imagine Sergeant.
50-year-old men from California who are upset about it.
No, you know what? It's like not knowing the difference between Sunni and Shia, Joey.
Some days are Sunni and some days are Shia.
That's true.
That's how it goes.
I don't even know what that means.
you have to write it out.
Okay.
It's a veteran thing, I guess.
Okay.
But listen, it's not Journey or AC/DC where you could literally say it kind of sounds the same. It's different, and so I'm appalled. That's why I stick with REO Speedwagon, and I just take it on the run.
Wow, very good, nice. Joanne, you weren't born when Van Halen was at their peak, but let me explain it to you. Sammy Hagar was in a band called Montrose during the early 70s. He was quite young, very, very talented singer. Then he had a solo act, and he did a song called Red, which I happen to like. Then when they had a falling out with David Lee Roth, Sammy jumped in, and Sammy was okay, but they were heavy on the synthesizer. I wasn't a fan of that, and then they had a falling out. I prefer to ignore that part of the Van Halen oeuvre.
I prefer to just ignore this topic completely. You know who lost my vote this week?
Who?
Was Marco Rubio, because on Special Report, I believe he pronounced Chipotle. Chipotle.
Yes.
He did it wrong, and that is wrong. Lost my vote.
Well, wait a minute. He is, he has Hispanic heritage, or he's Cuban.
Yeah, and he should know better.
Well, maybe he's right and you're wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you might be wrong. Let me get KT in. KT, I don't even know if you understand who Van Halen is and how important they are.
No, I don't understand. I don't care. I know it's something that dads who are trying to be cool say they like.
No. Dads are trying to be cool. They like Nirvana. And they wear vintage
I like
shirts.
Nirvana. I love Nirvana. My mom took my Nirvana CDs away when I was 15. She thought they were making me sad. But now I'm allowed to listen to it whenever I want.
Ah, that's nice. And now, you know what's funny? You're really a sad person now.
Turns out I was just born that. I was just born that way.
Yeah, that's true. Liberal panel, I'm going to test you. Can you name all of the Van Halen singers?
Well, first of all, I'm only a fan of spoken word folk music.
That's true.
That's all I listen to. Van Halen is the soundtrack of alcoholism. But go.
All right. Wait, can anybody answer this? David Lee Roth, Sammy Hagar, Gary Cherone. Do you remember Gary Cherone from Extreme?
Yeah.
And then there's one left. Mitch Malloy, who came in the 90s right after Sammy Hagar. I don't think he ever recorded with him. It was kind of sad. Before we go to a break, I want to ask you something, Sergeant. Bo Bird-Dog was picked up like at a pot farm or something. Did you hear about this?
I did, yeah. Well, if he's been to Afghanistan, he's seriously underperforming because the gallons and tons of black tar that I had to burn, there's a serious opium problem there. So it's pot is his flavor. But in all seriousness, this guy's responsible for American deaths. That's how I feel about it. I take big issue with the fact that he's even allowed the opportunity.
Yeah, it's amazing. All right, we'll close things out discussing weird flavors for potato chips. But first, let's check in with our live studio audience. Quick show of hands, everybody. How many of you are planning on buying a calendar featuring nothing but shirtless pictures of me? Wow. Looks like a big pre-order. Lay's Potato Chips announcing the 4 finalists for the Do Us a Flavor contest. Pun. The person who created the winning flavor based on fan voting takes home $1 million and the shame of knowing they created a monster. The flavors this year include West Coast truffle fries, Southern biscuits and gravy, which I have here, New York Reuben, which I've tried, vomited, Greektown Gyro, or is it Hero?
Gyro.
And Pepto-Bismol Crunch. I kid. Each one of you here has a different flavor. I don't know. I would ask you to taste them, but I really don't care. I want to know, do you guys have, is there any kind of flavor you would like?
Absolutely.
What?
Chick-fil-A sauce.
Oh, yes.
I crave it all the time.
Chick-fil-A sauce is very good.
It's the only fried chicken.
Yeah. Tucker?
I'd go with pumpkin spice. It shouldn't just be for latte. And I bet you, by the way, it would be cheaper and better for you than the Starbucks version.
Yeah, it's true.
Probably tastes pretty good, too.
Yeah. Joanne, you usually eat stuff like this and then throw it up.
Yeah.
So the flavor has to be twice as
I'm
good.
going to taste it twice.
Yes.
It's true. As a millennial, my flavor would be brunch.
Yes.
obviously. It would taste like Bloody Marys, maple syrup, and regret.
That's very good.
Yeah.
What about you, Catherine? You're way over there.
Yeah,
you don't have any chips.
I just want the chips to taste as disgusting as possible so I won't eat too many. I hate when I eat chips and I eat a whole bag and I'm like, I wish I would have gotten the family size, you know? And then you're like, I did.
Did you ever dip them in ice cream?
No, but yeah.
Yeah, I figured you probably did. Do you eat chips, liberal panel, wood chips?
Well, you know, I do like a nice sour cream and Klonopin. But if they came out with a Lay's, you know, that for my taste, like something like quiche or kelp and chia seeds.
Mm-hmm. It's something you could spend your food stamps on.
You mean my delicious federally funded freedom food tickets?
Exactly, your food freedom tickets. I've had enough of you. All right, I'm going to eat these Southern biscuits and gravy and then cry myself to sleep. My thanks to Dana Loesch, Tony Sayegh, Joey Jones, Tucker Carlson, Joanne Nosuchinsky, Katherine Timpf, and, of course, the liberal panel. I'm Greg Gutfeld, and I love you, America. Hey, that was a pretty good show today, panel. What do you think?
Thanks. Yeah, you had some real good moments there.
Yeah, I think I was on fire tonight. Thanks.
Say, you want to hang out a little? Maybe listen to some tunes?
Sure, why not? That'd be great.
Oh, awesome. Okay, I got something really good right here. Listen. Yeah?
This land is
Your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York